everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, let's talk about why everyone is building and running these commanders right now. Let's jump into it. So many of the Final Fantasy commanders are making a massive impact already, and well, none other than Vivy Orneter, I know how to say the last name anyways. Vivy is making a big splash already in Commander. 1,555 decks last week. This past week, an absurd amount of decks already. Let's talk about why. And that price tag, again, it hasn't come out yet, the set, but is pretty absurd itself. That should come down a little bit, I would think. But here we go. A 0/3 wizard for 3 mana in Is It? Pay 0 at X mana in any combination of blue and or red. Where X is Vivy's power. Activate only during your turn, and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a counter on Vivy, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Now, there's a lot of exciting things that you can do with this one. First of all, I mean, just getting a lot of power on it, obviously, makes it so that, hey, I activate and I get an absurd amount of mana right away. I mean, this can be a use case, obviously, just for even, certain equipment out there, like a Blackblade Reforged. Sure, okay. It's going to cost you a little bit to equip it, but you're going to get that mana back and then some when you actually pump in that way. But of course, simply by just casting non-creature spells, you're going to inherently just grow Vivy's power throughout the game. And when you do so, you're also going to be pinging your opponents. So yeah, just ping here, ping there, ping everywhere. Take advantage of, those ping triggers by actually, utilizing certain cards like, Curiosity. Curiosity is insane with this commander and cards like it. There's other ones like it as well. Ophidian Eye, I think, is one. There's a couple. Whatever works with Nim is, it basically works with Vivy. Enchant creature, it's an aura for a single blue mana. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. The key here is not combat damage. It does not specify combat damage, meaning that this 1 mana aura attached to Vivy goes, oh, okay, cast a non-creature spell, ping everyone for 1, draw 3 cards. Again, you got 3 opponents, unless you've already taken one out. But yeah, 3 opponents, draw 3 cards every single time you cast a non-creature spell. That is insane. Absolutely insane. So yeah, all those effects are going to be great with it, of course. Archmage Emeritus, of course, if you want to draw even more, you can, obviously. Utilizing something like this for a Spellslinger type strategy for Vivy can be great. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, draw a card. Being able to just, again, all those Magecraft triggers are going to be building up throughout the game. Draw even more cards outside of your Curiosity fun times, essentially. Have fun with that. Of course, Stormkilled Artist is yet another good one to include in a Spellslinger type strategy, which I would say most strategies around Vivy are probably going to be Spellslinger. You can also do like artifacts as well, again, non-creature artifacts, but artifact reduction, artifact bouncing, replaying. Can be a lot of like storm elements to that too. And speaking of artifacts, again with this one, +1/+0 for each artifact you control in Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant source spell, get a treasure token. Now, with that, being able to get the treasure token, yeah, you're basically turning every single one of your instants and sorceries into, like, cantrippy. Not cantrips. That's Archmage Emeritus. This one turns them basically into ritual effects in a way. You get mana back out of it, and you can utilize that mana whenever you need to. Speaking of mana, though, yeah, Horizon Stone can be great with this commander, too. It says, hey, I'm an artifact for 5 mana, and by the way, I am your mana bank. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes colorless instead. Being able to just say, okay, I'm going to activate Vivy. Maybe you don't have any actual spells that you want to utilize all that mana for. You want to, like, save some up, essentially. You can actually just utilize this, again, as a bank that actually just puts that mana into storage, and it stays colorless. So you just keep that mana there, and you can utilize it again whenever you need to. So being able to just utilize that mana in a big burst later can really help you, obviously. It can be building up throughout the game with Vivy's activation, so you don't really waste any mana. And of course, giant X spells like a Jaya's Immolating Inferno can just be, okay, burninate my opponents to the ground. Great, gravy, good for me. Legendary Sorcery for X, red, and X damage to each up to 3 targets. So yeah, probably your opponent's faces most likely. But of course, obviously, there are giant like X draw spells like Pull for Tomorrow, etc., etc. Yeah, Vivy is a very exciting commander. Again, one that can go like Spellslingery, can go like Artifact Stormy if you want to, can go like just mana sink into big things as well. So a lot of cool things you can do this one. And of course, yeah, Curiosity. Cards like that don't say combat on them. Oh, that's pretty gross. Pretty gross there, Vivy. Enjoy. So yeah, this is definitely one that's taking over right now with so many decks to its name already. Moving on, 944 decks last week. Now, this one was spoiled quite a while ago, but the impact of this one is still being felt, and the amount of decks being built around it is still increasing. It's pretty crazy. Ishola, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. Knight's Blessed, a 2/4 cat warlock for 4 mana and Esper Vigilance. Beginning of each end step, if a player lost 4 or more life this turn, you draw a card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell of mana value 3 or greater, Ishola deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. Being able to essentially go, okay, end step, yeah, players lost 4 life, yeah, great, okay, cool, draw a card. That can be your opponent's. Obviously, if you cast 2 non-creature spells with mana value 3 or greater, you're going to be hitting that. Obviously, there are other ways your opponents lose life, if they get, attacked by someone else, essentially, etc. on other turns, great. Or you can actually just maybe mitigate your own life, and just actually utilize it to draw cards. So, like, you could just go Mischievous Poltergeist. Cards like this are, like, life-setting cards, I like to say. Pay 1 life, regenerate. You can keep utilizing that effect as many times as you want, essentially. And by doing so, you're like, oh, okay, cool. My life goes down 4 because I want to draw a card. Cool. Good for me. Now, obviously, you don't want to just keep doing that throughout the game, like a ton, but you are also gaining life with your commander. But also, if you do want to kind of do like a life control strategy, like life swapping with something like a Soul Conduit can be great. Artifact for 6, pay 6 tap. 2 target players exchange life totals. Access Mortality is another one you can utilize. There's other ones as well, but being able to utilize that in ways, great. Also, I'm not going to bring up Curiosity again because I just showed that earlier, but Tandem Lookout, yet another Curiosity type effect, of course, works with this commander. Again, Ishola is the one that's dealing damage to your opponents, so if you soul bond it to Tandem Lookout, as long as it's paired with another creature, each of those creatures has, whenever this creature deals damage, not combat damage to an opponent, draw a card. So literally just, okay, cast a non-creature spell, mana value 3 or greater, draw 3 cards. Gross. Obviously, cards like Frantic Search can be great in it as well. Has that mana value requirement, and also doesn't cost you anything really. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, untap up to 3 lands, so that instant speed at 3 mana. Get your mana back, utilize it again. These kinds of cards that you can utilize multiple times can really help you, of course. Yeah, Ishola, Knight's Bless is a very cool commander. One that, again, can go in a lot of different directions, in my opinion. Yeah, some, like, punishing effects can definitely be ones. Like, if you have, like, a painful quandary type strategy, where you're like, okay, opponents do things, they get punished. But also just having like oh, you know what, actually, I'm the one who actually loses the life. And I'm going to be drawing cards with this, and then I'm going to swap the life to make it so that, well, you are the one who actually pays for that at the end. So yeah, that is definitely a way to go about it with this commander. Again, still popular, still growing in popularity. Check it out. But of course, Sephiroth had to be someone who was going to be taking over in Commander as well. Just in the past week, over 700 decks, 742 decks to be sure. Yeah, again, there's an absurd amount of commanders out there, just in general, right? And in Final Fantasy, there's even more commanders. I mean, there's like 100 or so or plus. There's a lot, okay? And Sephiroth obviously stands above many in the pack, being Sephiroth. Don't hurt me, Sephiroth. Sorry. Anyways, you're not top, but you're close. 3/3 human avatar soldier for 3 mana in black. When it enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. They see 4 times this ability is resolved this turn. Transform Sephiroth. So this is one where, hey, you know what? Cool. Yeah, you can actually sacrifice some creatures by drawing cards. That's great. You can do like an aristocrat style strategy-ish, getting value off your own creatures being sacrificed. But also, of course, whenever any creature dies, your opponents are going to be losing life. And if this 4th time that's happened, it transforms, which is super easy to get to that 4th time. We'll get to them here in a little bit. But by the way, it flips over into Sephiroth, One-Winged Angel. A 5/5 Angel Nightmare Avatar with flying, and that says, hey, as it transforms, you get an emblem. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses life and you gain 1 life. Basically, a permanent Blood Artist emblem in play, which is pretty incredible. Keep in mind, you can get You get more and more of those emblems if you just keep transforming this. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, being able to do so, you can do some pretty disgusting things. On top of that, whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures. If you do, draw that many cards. So yeah, go wide with a bunch of creatures, sacrifice them, get an absurd amount of value out of this, while also draining your opponents, and maybe even building up the number of emblems that you have, of course. So yeah, if you just play like in a Cursed Marauder though, you can very easily flip Sephiroth like right away for just 2 mana, which is pretty crazy. 2/1 Zombie Warrior for 2 mana. ATBs, everyone sacrifices a non-token creature. Yeah, this Flashback Marauder type, Merciless Executioner, there's a lot of different ones, Playcraft, there's a lot of different ones that basically do the exact same thing in some ways. Basically 2 or 3 mana, and all of a sudden you are flipping your commander and then getting that emblem, which is huge. Of course, though, again, like I mentioned, maybe sometimes you actually want to I mean, choose when those creatures die. So yeah, Viserys here, sacrifice creature, scry 1. You can actually get a lot of value out of like an aristocrat style strategy with this commander, obviously. That being said, being able to just go, okay, I sacrifice Sephiroth, but afterwards, before that, I'm going to cast Feign Death. Instant for a single black mana until end of turn. Target creature gains when this creature dies. Return to the battlefield. Honor and Source Control tapped to counter on it. Cool. All right, Sephiroth, we don't really care that much about that. What we care about is, again, literally, when Sephiroth is going to die, it leaves, it comes back into play on the front side, and then all of a sudden, all we need to do is have 4 creatures die again, which again, with Viserys here we can do, or again, another kind of edict effect we can do, and all of a sudden we flip Sephiroth again and stack those emblems. Of course, we have plenty of great creature fodder, like Resummoning Skeleton's a great one. Also, Bloodghast, one that just comes back automatically. Whenever a land you control enters, bring it back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Super easy, super effective, super amazing creature fodder. So yeah, keep sacrificing with Sephiroth, or for Sephiroth, whatever you need. Dreadhorde Invasion, a great kind of like, well, very budget-friendly version of Bitter Blossom. At the beginning of upkeep, you lose 1 life into Mass Zombies 1. Unfortunately, a mass goes tall and not wide. That being said, if you are sacrificing that creature every single time, you're not really going tall. You're just getting 1 token every single turn, which can be fantastic when it comes to creature fodder. So again, Sephiroth, kind of like a build-your-own Blood Artist army in a way, when you're like making more emblems out of this one. And of course, a way to get an absurd amount of value on the backside when you're like, okay, I attack and sacrifice a massive amount of creatures and draw a massive amount of cards while also hitting incredibly hard as well, I'm sure. Yeah, have fun with that one. A really cool commander. Check it out. Let's zero in on this next one, though, with Terra Magical Adept. 704 decks. Again, over 700. My goodness. In just the past week. Again, with all the commanders out there, all the choices, it takes a lot to stand on top of the pack, and this one really does. A 4/2 Human Wizard Warrior for 3 mana in Gruul, but it is not a Gruul commander. Enters, mill 5 cards, put up to 1 enchantment card mill this way in your hand. Trance for 6 mana in Gruul. Again, not a Gruul commander though. Tap, exile, then return to the battlefield. Transformed, under control, activate only as a sorcery. Flips over into WUBRG. There you go. It's a WUBRG commander, which, yeah, you might not have seen coming. But, yeah, WUBRG, the best color combination. 6/6 Flying Saga Wizard. That says the first, second, and third lore counters. Create tokens, copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. Gains haste if it's a saga. Put 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice to begin next end step. And then also the 4th lore counter is add, well, basically double WUBRG. I was going to say it all, but it's double WUBRG, okay? 10 mana in total. Exile, return to the battlefield, flipped over. So basically, yeah, lots of value to be had. So yes, you kind of like store mana in a way. It's like, okay, I'm going from 6 mana to eventually all the way up to 10 mana from it, and a lot of great effects out of it. Again, like being able to copy your non-legendary enchantments, absolutely amazing. So get it, flip it over again and again and again, all while getting like copies of amazing non-legendary enchantments. Sure, I mean, if they're legendary, you'd have to sacrifice them anyways, but like get a couple of Eidolon Blossoms. Sure, why not? Whenever another enchantment enters battlefield under control, draw a card. Get a couple of those and play with an enchanter strategy, and my goodness, all of a sudden any enchantment coming into play is going to draw you like 2, 3+ cards, which is insane. Or like, hey, you know what? Leyline of Mutation. Let's take advantage of this one. We're not going to want to copy it unless we like care about like protecting it and like getting an extra copy of it. What matters is it's an enchantment for 4 mana in green. It's in your opening hand. You begin the game with it on the battlefield, which is nice, but you can pay WUBRG rather than pay the mana cost for spells you cast, so your commander kind of flipping over into that, well, Saga, once it gets that last part and gives you double WUBRG, now this can just be 2 massive amounts of mana for, again, if you've got like Omniscience in the deck or something like that, have fun. I guess you could just straight up cast Omniscience with like a little extra help from some lands, but still, because like double WUBRG, I think you need like a 3rd blue, right? Anyways, Summon Shiva. This one's a 4/5 Saga Elemental that has Heavenly Strike. Tap target creature opponent controls, place stun counter on it, and then Diamond Dust. Draw a card for each tap creature opponent's control. Again, you can definitely lean heavily into these Saga creatures if you want to, or just Sagas in general, because, yeah, I mean, it definitely helps, if you are activating them and kind of getting, like, their final ability, their final effect pretty quickly. The Kami War, again, another great one to utilize, another great Saga. 5 mana, or 5 mana, 6 mana in total, WUBRG. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls. The second one, turn 2, one other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then each opponent discards a card. The third one is flip it over, and it flips over into a flying trampling 6/6 that says, whenever attacks, playing player chooses a non-land card in your graveyard, return that card to your hand, so some great recursion there, and it gets a giant pump effect as well, which is quite nice. So again, overall, you can definitely go like Sagas, you can go Saga creatures, you can just go just great enchantments, you can go like great enchantment ETBs, Constellation. There's a lot of cool ways you can take this non-Gruul WUBRG commander. But now let's move on to Choco, Seeker of Paradise. 604 dex to its name, a 3/5 bird for 4 mana in Bant. Whenever one or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards at the top of your library. Skip that a little bit. You may put one of them in your hand, then put any number of land cards among them on the battlefield. Tap the rest in your graveyard. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, Choco gets +1/+0 until end of turn. This is a really cool commander, bird tribal in a big way in Bant. Being able to go, okay, you know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be getting a lot of birds out. I'm going to be swinging. I get that many cards off the top of my mind to look at, and I get one into my hand, so it's like card advantage 1, but also massive amounts of ramp. Again, any number of land cards from there into the battlefield, which is insane. So yeah, basically go wide, make a ton of birds, swing, and again, birds are typically evasive, right? This is one of the very few non-flying birds, ironically. But then also, you can also pump this to Oblivion too, with all those lands coming into play too. So yeah, you can very easily turn this into a 2-shot, maybe even a 1-shot KO with Double Strike as well. So maybe you want to grant it some evasion in some ways. That being said, first card I do want to mention, which is a little more expensive these days and might get more expensive with this one, Soul Catcher's Airy, $4.63 for this one, enchant for 2 mana. Whenever a bird is put in your grave from the play, put a feather counter on it, and all birds get +1 for each feather counter on it. Hopefully you're not playing against another bird tribal deck, because this also benefits them too. But that being said, hey, this is an absurd anthem for your team. They're going to be hitting so incredibly hard. Flurry of Wings, I love this card. It is so flexible. It's kind of like a fog and like an army creator all in one. Instant for Bant colors, essentially. Put X, 1/1, bird soldier creature tokens with flying into play, or X the number of attacking creatures. So again, if someone is attacking you, sure, you can just make a bunch of birds and block wherever you want. Or if someone's attacking someone else, it doesn't even matter. You just go, okay, I make a bunch of birds for 3 mana. Good for me. Or if you're attacking, okay, I basically double up my army, which is insane. Speaking of insane, though, Emeria Angel. Yeah, this is a star for this commander. Flying landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may create a 1/1 bird with flying. So basically, your birds swing, they get you lands, which make more birds, which get you more lands, which make more birds. You see where this is going. You're probably going to run out of lands eventually, but hey, have fun. Or how about Castrol the Wing Crested? Whenever one or more birds you control deal combo damage to a player, choose one. Put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard on the battlefield and find out a counter on it. So just straight up cheat something into play or get it back from your graveyard. That's huge. Or get counters on your birds. That's going to be quite a bit. Again, getting these triggers off of each opponent, that's lovely, again, to a player, but also if you've got double strike effects, like, certain enchantments out there that might grant double strike to your entire team, utilize those, and being able to just, double that up, that can be quite nice for 6 triggers instead of 3, or draw some cards. If you want more cards, draw more cards. Finally, Murmuration, I think that's how you say that. Anyways, enchantment for 5 mana in white, birds you control get +1 and have vigilance, so yeah, again, attack and keep them back for defense as well, which is huge. That being said, though, beginning of your end step, for each spell you've cast this turn, create a 1/2 blue bird creature token with flying named Stormcrow. Stormcrow's here, Stormcrow's there, Stormcrow's everywhere. Get a ton of them out, and all of a sudden, decimate your opponent. So yeah, this is a really fun commander, though, for Bird Tribal. Goes about in a really fun way, a really powerful way. Again, a little bit of card advantage sprinkled in there, but just a massive amount of ramp to do some crazy things. Again, landfall triggers, take advantage of all of that. Finally, we've got Kfka Mage with 546 decks to its name over the past week. 4/5 Human Wizard for 5 mana in Grixis. When it enters or attacks, each player discards a card. Then you draw a card for each card type among cards discarded this way. And by paying 8, each month sacrifice a permanent of their choice. Transform it, activate only as a sorcery. This is one where, oh my goodness, you can use and abuse that ETB all you want, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, oh yeah, you just discard. Okay, cool, all right, you can discard. You can use and abuse the attack as well, but more so on the ETB with blink effects, it's easier. I guess extra combat helps too, but yeah, it's easier for blanks. Being able to just draw a ton of cards off of that, decimate your opponent's hands, you can just build around that and it would be very effective. That being said, flipping it over, we get Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, a 5/7 Avatar Wizard with flying. Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. Absolutely crazy. Opponents on your turns are going to be very, very, very much in trouble. I mean, this already just having flying is probably going to get thrown at an opponent. Draw 5, essentially, with that. But, of course, any kind of a drain effect, and you're like, okay, draw an absurd amount. Just repeat on that. It's only during your turn, but still crazy. That being said, Waste Not. The front side of Kefka, you can definitely build around that as well. Waste Not is a huge value engine for you. Opponent discards a creature, you make a 2/2 creature. When an opponent discards a land, you get mana, 2 black. Whenever an opponent discards a non-creature non-land card, draw a card. Yeah, get even more cards off of that too. Or how about Seismic Assault? On the backside, on the transform side, utilize those lands that you're drawing to deal out damage. So yeah, you draw some lands, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I deal 2 damage to you. Oh, you lost life, because yes, damage does cost loss of life. All of a sudden it's like, okay, I draw 2 more. Oh, there's a land in here. Discard. 2 more damage. Oh, there's land in here. Oh, there's 2 lands this time. You can do some absurd things once you get this going. Of course, if you do kind of lean into like discard shenanigans, essentially, Feast of Sanity can just be pretty crazy. This one is, hey, whenever you discard a card, 1 damage to any target, you gain 1 life. In combination with a free discard out like a Scourge Familiar, which gives you free mana, discard a card, add black. There you go. It's like, okay, I discard a ping, I discard a ping, I discard a ping, and you keep drawing again and again and again and again. Have fun with that. And of course, Conjurer's Closet, these type of blink effects, you're going to want to keep them in mind, obviously, because the front side of Kfka is, again, just absolutely insane. So yeah, definitely a commander that you need to reckon with if you're the opponent of this one, on either the front side or the back. It is disgusting. It is amazing. Make sure you go check it out. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. As always, comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.